Raider Nation, what's going on? Coming up here on today's show, 6 burning questions before the Raiders play Pittsburgh, but I would not be able to do today's show if it wasn't for our awesome sponsor, RexMD. And if, guys, you got a hard time getting hard, go to rexmd.com/chat. So with the Raiders just getting blown out against the Buffalo Bills, we got to put that game on the back burner. Let's now look forward to Week 3, Sunday Night Football, the home opener at Allegiant Stadium. And these 6 burning questions are questions that if I had the opportunity to sit down with Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, these are the questions that I am asking those two. The first question, how the hell is Chandler Jones still on this team? Can somebody answer that for me? Because anybody that respects what wearing the Raiders jersey means, what rocking that shield means, can somebody give me an answer how the hell Chandler Jones is still on this team? Yesterday, he tweeted these just obscene things. Now you're taking money out of my pocket. Here I'm watching my team lose because someone was molesting my goddaughter. He also said, you can call me whatever you want. CTE, a dumb football player, dumb black man, whatever y'all want, keyboard warriors. Meanwhile, our children are getting molested. He also then went on to say, He also went on to say, that's why I couldn't get a sack today, because people wanted to, you guys can put that one, it's supposed to be an E at the end of it, my stepdaughter, and not expect me to get upset. I get upset because he's throwing out allegations about somebody getting raped or molested, but you know what? He's not going to tell anybody because to him, I just want to play, but if I don't play, I'm going to tell everyone. It is an insane thing to make those allegations. But you know what? For those of you that are watching this show, when we record this live, Chandler Jones then went on social media and said, sorry for the mix-up. I was hacked. Please forgive me. The fact that he threw out those things on social media and now somebody told him to just say that his account got hacked, it's despicable. It's disgusting. The Raiders have all the evidence that they possibly need to cut this guy for conduct detrimental to the team. But Chandler said those things. We all agree with that, right? Nobody thinks that Chandler Jones got hacked. He's posting videos of himself. He looks sick on social media. But what's crazy to me is not only are you making those allegations, and God forbid, like if they were true, obviously now we know that they're not true because Chandler just said his account got hacked, right? But if the Raiders let Chandler Jones play, that he wouldn't have reported his goddaughter getting molested, I mean, it's a sick thing to even say. I can't even believe I'm saying it on this show. Chandler Jones needs help. He can't be allowed to be set foot on a football field. I wouldn't let him around people. If you told me right now I had the opportunity to meet Chandler Jones, I wouldn't do it for my own personal safety. And I don't think that people should be around him. He needs help in so many different ways. So let me know down in the comments section. Should the Raiders cut Chandler Jones? Give me a yes or give me a no. I'm telling you this right now. If you watch this video and you don't think that Chandler Jones should be cut, you need help almost just as bad as he does. The Raiders need to cut him. Conduct detrimental to the team. You void his contract. You save all the money. I put this out there on social media this morning before the whole I was hacked thing came out, and I'll stand by it. The Raiders need to cut Chandler Jones today for conduct detrimental, voiding his contract, then use that open roster spot because they're taking up a roster spot right now that they desperately need, and go get some help on the defensive line. That's what this organization needs to do. Let's go to the second burning question here. What the is going on with the plan for Hunter Renfrow? What's the plan for Hunter Renfrow? I need to know. And I'll get into this whole talk here in just a second. But, man, I'll tell you what. Shout out to our sponsor, RexMD, for hooking up. Jeremy just said, I'm rock hard right now. It's probably because he uses RexMD, but, hey, that's why he's not on screen. Fellas, do you sometimes lack confidence in the bedroom? Do you wish that you could have a more fulfilling sex life? Well, you're not alone. That's why we're excited to tell you about RexMD, the online source for men's wellness. RexMD offers an easy and discreet way to get your medication need for ED without having to visit a doctor's office. With just a few clicks, you can have your medication delivered straight to your door at a fraction of the cost of traditional pharmacies. RexMD's team of licensed physicians will work with you to find the right treatment plan, and their medication is made in the USA, so you can trust its quality. Plus, their customer support team is available 24/7 to answer any questions or concerns you may have. So if you're ready to take control of your sex life and say goodbye to ED, head on over to rexmd.com/chat and start your consultation today. Take advantage of the best deal they've ever offered and save up to 90% off and only pay $2 per dosage with our exclusive link. Go to rexmd.com/chat for this limited time deal. Starter packs of generic Viagra, Cialis are now available for our listeners to get started. That's rexmd.com/chat for 90% off. All right, so what the flip is going on right now with Hunter Renfrow and his usage? I know Josh McDaniels spoke at the podium on Tuesday or Monday, and he said, we want to get Renfrow involved more. He played in 26 snaps out of 39, which is more of an increase than what he played the week before. But McDaniels, it's your job to get him involved. And if the plan is to not put him out on the field, and if the plan is to have a guy making $13 million with only one catch, and the catch that he got yesterday was in garbage time. Like, all I'm saying is I love Hunter Renfrow. I think he is a good talent, and he's a player that when you told me that the Raiders were going to hire Josh McDaniels to be the head coach, if there was one player that I never thought was going to have any problem fitting in, it was going to be Renfrow. And yet they just don't use him. Cool. If you're not going to use him, get rid of him. Like, trade him, get some draft picks, use that money. Like, at this point, I would rather the Raiders trade Hunter Renfrow for a 7th-round pick instead of just him taking up all that salary cap space and him to not make an impact in the game. I don't want to move on from Renfrow, but if they're not going to use him, why am I letting a car that's worth $13 million just sit in my garage? I'll tell you why. It doesn't make any sense. Let's figure out what the hell we're doing with Hunter Renfrow going in to week 3. Let's go to the next burning question here on the Raiders Report. What's going to be Josh McDaniels' excuse now? I know last season I screamed fire Josh McDaniels probably more than anybody on social media, YouTube, and I'm really trying to do a better job this season of, Mitch, let's not go to the fire Josh McDaniels stuff as quick, right? But, man, I was super, super tempted after what I saw. And the reason why I'm sitting up here saying what's going to be McDaniels' excuse now is he's got his quarterback. He's got Jimmy Garoppolo. There's no more saying, oh, well, our quarterback couldn't execute the plays. You got your QB. You did everything this offseason to make sure that this Raiders offense was going to click because you had money to spend on the defensive side of the football. You decided to neglect the defense and put all your concentration on the offensive side of the ball. Let's be real. The Raiders tried harder to make their offense better this offseason than their defense. Do you agree with that? If you do, click that like button. Because right now, here are the Raiders' offensive rankings so far. I will admit, for those of you that are watching live, this is the correct number. For those of you that are going to watch this on Tuesday, they might not be updated. The bottom line is this, though. You're averaging 13.5 points per game. You're 21st in the NFL in passing yards per game. You've made this running attack, which was one of the best in the league last season, look like one of the worst. And now you're averaging 30th in terms of total yards per game. If you're this offensive guru that finally has his quarterback, and let's be real, the Raiders have tons of talent on the offensive side of the football and one of the best offensive lines in the league, and yet these are the results. So what is going to be Josh McDaniels' excuse? Because my patience, when they hired him, I hated it. I said that the last thing that this organization should do is bring in McDaniels and have Jim Garoppolo as a quarterback. I have tried to be patient, being glass half full, but if I see more of the games that I have seen from the offensive side of the football, and that continues, I'm not going to be able to take it. I know Raider Nation probably feels the exact same way. My question to you is this: do you believe in the Raiders head coach? Do you believe in Josh McDaniels? Watching this show right now, are you sitting there saying, this is the right guy for the job? This is the guy that's going to get the Raiders in the playoffs. Type B for believe, and if you don't believe, simply type those Ds. Let's go to the fourth question here, entering Week 3 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do the Raiders have the worst run game in the NFL? That is a mind-blowing thing to say out loud, considering the fact that the Raiders last season had the rushing leader, Josh Jacobs, with 1,653 yards. I find myself laughing so much because right now the Raiders, I think they do. I think they have the worst running game in the NFL with arguably the best running back in the league. That falls on Josh McDaniels. That falls on Jimmy Garoppolo because teams do not respect this team's ability to throw the ball down the field, so they stack the box. The pass blocking is way, way better than the run blocking. The run blocking needs to be better. Dylan Parham, I'm looking at you. Greg Van Roten, I'm looking at you because our two guard positions right now are the biggest weakness on this offensive line. No doubt about it. But Jacobs this season has got 28 carries for 46 yards, and he's averaging 1.6 yards per carry. This next graphic that you're going to see, you're going to laugh out loud, and Jeremy laughed at me when I made it, but it's more of a, could you even imagine? Could you even imagine right now, because this is what Jacobs is on pace for. He's on pace for 238 yards and 238 carries for 391 yards. I mean, that would be the worst rushing season of all time. What scares me is McDaniels, even if he was that bad, might still just continue to give it to him. And I see people all the time saying, well, why is the running game so bad? Here are the 5 reasons why the running game is bad. Let's be honest here, right? I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. Josh Jacobs looks slower. Josh can say that he was doing all these things in the offseason, but let's be real. Josh looks slower than what he did last season. Run blocking chemistry. If your main running back isn't there, a lot of blocking in the NFL takes chemistry. And right now, Jacobs and his offensive line, they're not in sync. Not only are they not in sync, in general, the Raiders' offensive line from a run blocking standpoint, it's not in sync. Then the defenses stacking the box. If it's 8-9 guys up against 5 every single time, it makes it a very, very difficult thing for your offensive lineman to be able to read who's dropping back, who's coming up forward. The assignments aren't there, and it is killing this Raiders team. Jimmy Garoppolo's arm is arguably the biggest reason why that the rushing attack has struggled, because teams don't respect it. And they're saying, I'm going to take Josh Jacobs out of this game because I don't believe Jimmy Garoppolo is good enough to beat me by himself. And I don't know if he is. And then Josh McDaniels' inability to change. How can you have a 34-yard rush with Trey Tucker and then not get him the ball again for the rest of the game? It just doesn't make sense to me. I do not understand what Josh McDaniels is doing. I do not understand what this Raiders offense is right now. They have absolutely no identity with the amount of talent that they have. I'm hoping that the game can get switched because they really miss Jakobi Meyers. You're going to have Davante Adams. Week 3 against Steelers is a prove-it week. And hopefully we have a big-time win because it's going to be Sunday Night Football. Raiders, Steelers, Jeremy Chuggs and I, we're going to be live for this one. We're also going to be live on Thursday for Giants 49ers here on the show. If you don't already know, we're going to be going live every Monday and Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to party with Jeremy and I this weekend, we will be out in Las Vegas. All you got to do is go to blackoutdivision.com and get your free tickets to party with Jeremy Chuggs and I. Let's go to the 5th burning question that I got for McDaniels and Ziegler and honestly this entire coaching staff. Do we really have a coaching staff right now that is too proud, or are they too stupid to notice how bad the defensive tackle room is? I genuinely need to know because it's not a secret, right? Like, it's not like something that hasn't been discussed. It's not been something that hasn't been thrown out there, but the Raiders have arguably the worst defensive line, the worst defensive tackle room in the NFL, and you got Max Crosby on that line as well. Thank the Lord the Raiders have the Condor, or else you could probably go back in the history books and look at the worst defensive lines in NFL history, and the Raiders would be up there right now. I get that Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler decided to neglect the defensive tackle position. They did. They neglected it in the offseason. They neglected it, and some people were like, oh, well, Mitch, they drafted Matthew Butler and Neil Farrell Jr. The Raiders scouting department sucks. Let's call that what that is. And then they're like, oh, but they also signed a bunch of defensive tackles. No, they didn't. What the Raiders did is they had a giant hole in their boat, and they said, oh, if we sign these cheap defensive tackles, that's like putting a piece of duct tape on a hole in your boat and expecting that you're going to be able to sail. It's not actually going out there and addressing the issue. And then if you're like, no, we're too proud to change it, that's a problem. But if you're telling me that our scouting department and all of our coaches say that these are the right guys for the job, that's also a big problem. I don't know what needs to be fixed here, but the Raiders need to go out and get somebody on the defensive tackle room because it's cheeks, it's booty. I can't stand it anymore. You're not going to win football games. It does. It makes me soft looking at it. When I watch defensive tackles, I want to be like a rock, and I mean that. Shout out to Rex MD, and it's not happening with the defensive tackles that we have right now on this team. My final burning question here is this. Davante Adams, Jakobi Meyers, are they going to play against the Pittsburgh Steelers? And the good news is, I believe that it is. Davante Adams, you can expect him to be out there. He was hit late in the game. against the Bills. Josh McDaniels says that he's good to go, so sounds like he's going to be ready. I also believe that Jakobi Meyers is going to be able to play in this upcoming game, which should make this offense a little bit better. Those were my 6 burning questions that I have right now. But guess what? The Raiders are 1-0, and I asked this question last week, and I saw the answers. And I just wanted to do the exact same thing to see how much different they would be from week to week. How many games will the Raiders win this season? I saw a lot of the votes, and I'd say the average last week would have been around 9 to 10. I can't wait to see what the answers are this week. How many games will the Raiders win this season? Now, remember, y'all, if you made it this far in the video, we pump out a lot of content here on the show. We try to put out ideas that are fun for the nation. We try to be interactive. So 720 Denver, King Sanchez, Nick, Raider, Rog, I see y'all down in our live show. I appreciate the hell out of each and every one of y'all. If you have a question that you're like, Mitch, why didn't you bring this up? Let me know down in the comments. Believe it or not, and it's most of the time when I'm dropping a number 2, I'll go through YouTube, I'll look at the comments, and the one thing that I have found now that makes me laugh, you ever sit on the toilet for so long and you get those marks on your knees? Well, now because of my tattoo, hang on, my Raiders face gets red. The Raiders logo, like now when I sit on the toilet too long, my Raiders logo, it just gets red. I'm like, his face is getting red. I got to get off the shitter here. But hey, I look at the comments. I see what you guys have to say. I enjoy seeing what you guys have to say. So please, if you made it this far in the video, take a second, subscribe. And the only way the show continues to grow and grow is if people share it. So please share it on social media, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, share it on Facebook. I know that we can do a lot more with this channel. And the only way it's going to continue to grow is with y'all's help.